Hello everyone, Mark here from Visual Pro Detailing. One of the common concerns that I hear after one of my clients has had a ceramic coating applied to their car is, how do I take care of it and how do I keep it looking like it does immediately after the car is coated? And one of the concerns or fears that they have whenever they're purchasing this expensive service for their car is that they're not going to be able to upkeep it and maintain the appearance of the car after the coating has been applied. So I'm going to create a series of videos explaining how to take care of the car after the coating has been applied and how to get best use of the coating. Now, while the coating does not have to be babied per se, there are some general guidelines and general car care tips that you can use to keep it looking its absolute best and to get the most out of your investment in the protective coating. So first of all, let's go into some aftercare immediately after having the coating applied. One of the first things that I tell everyone is do not wash it for the first 7 days after coating application. And this guideline is pretty well general for almost every ceramic coating in the industry, is that you do not want to wash it for the first 7 days. Why? Because the coating will continue to level and harden for the first week to 5 days to a week, depending on the coating brand. Some cure a little bit faster than others, but the general guideline is 7 days no matter what. Do not wash it, do not expose it to any chemicals during that time. It can get wet. For most coatings, after the 12-hour mark, you can drive it in the rain. It's not going to harm it, but don't put any chemicals. Don't be rubbing against it with any wash mitts, any of that stuff until the 7-day mark. This is a very, very important step because those first few days after having the coating applied is the only time where it's really vulnerable to simple things such as soaps, detergents, solvents, things of that sort that can impact it while it's hardening and curing. If you do wash the car during that period, there's a really good chance it's not going to do any damage, but it could affect the long-term durability depending on the ambient temperature, depending on what time of year it is, and depending on which coating you had applied. I always tell my clients after picking up the vehicle, there's no reason to risk it just to wash it a couple days sooner or just to clean it up a little bit sooner than that 7-day mark. So you paid all the money for the ceramic coating. Let's not risk hurting the durability of that coating just so that we can wash it a little bit sooner. One of my clients recently contacted me asking, well, what do I do if I pick up a bunch of bugs on the way back to my house after picking up the car from having the coating applied? This is one of those situations where it's dependent on the coating. For a standard coating that I would do in my shop, I would tell them to get a microfiber cloth, a clean, dry microfiber cloth, get some warm or even lukewarm water, and simply wipe off the front bumper of the bugs gently, and the bugs should come right off because they're fresh and you have the ceramic coating. Take a second towel, make sure to dry off all the water because you don't want to leave any hard water spots on the surface from the dampness of the towel. That should be the easiest way to take care of those bugs. And even then, once you have the ceramic coating and if it's had its proper 12-hour cure period, whenever you do go to wash the car after it's collected the bugs, there shouldn't be any etchings or problems from the bugs sitting on the vehicle. Whenever you do have bugs, you need to get them off in a reasonable amount of time, but we'll cover that in another video. So the basic premise is the first week after the coating, the only thing you should rinse it with is water if you absolutely have to. And if you do end up having to rinse it with water, make sure to dry it. Use a large microfiber towel and pat it dry, or use some sort of a leaf blower or compressed air to blow the water off, or use a deionized water source that's not going to leave any water spots at all, because ceramic coatings are susceptible to water spots if you do not dry them completely, but any vehicle is susceptible to water spots if you don't dry it completely. So first 7 days, don't wash it at all unless you absolutely have to, and then only use water and make sure to dry it 100% and not leave any hard water spots on the coating. One other thing that I wanted to cover within the first 7 days, some coatings are what they consider in the business self-leveling, and when they say that, all it basically means is that the coating will harden and it will cure on the surface over the next 7 days. And when that happens, sometimes, especially in black cars, you will see little spots. And I've seen this particularly with some of IGL's coatings, some of Pearl Nano's coatings, is that you will see tiny bits of like hazing in the paint. And it's not like standing out, it doesn't look like a huge smudge or anything like that, but a little spot of hazing. Almost every single time I have seen this in these types of coatings, the G-Technique coatings not as much, but in these other coatings, within 3 to 4 days, sometimes a week, that will cure on its own and you won't even be able to tell it's there. It's a very common thing. It's something that happens with these certain coatings, and it's really more noticeable on black cars, but it's not something to be concerned about. If you go over a week and you've already washed the car and you still see that spot, that's when it's time to contact your detailer. It might be a high spot, a place where the coating needed a little bit more leveling whenever the coating was applied. But the good thing is, high spots are easy to fix. Call your detailer. He or she should be very happy to come out, fix the high spot. You should be on your way. It is usually, I've had a few high spots in my career of detailing. It's usually a 5-minute or less fix. The coating does not need to be removed. The car does not need to be polished. Usually a very light hand polish, or even a product like a cleaner, C2V3, something like that, that's a little bit of a spray sealant. Sometimes that can even remove the high spot. So it's an easy fix, it's a quick fix. It doesn't mean your coating's ruined, it just means it needs a little touch up, and that does occasionally happen with ceramic coating. So give it that first 7 days, give it that first wash, and then really evaluate the surface. And then if something needs to be looked at, have it looked at. But that's part of having a true professional apply your coating, is that they're not just there for the application, they're there for after the fact. So after this video, I'm going to get into washing the vehicle and talk about different wash processes and how to get the best out of your wash process to make it easy, simple, and fast.